News! Auto! Sama! Esi! Wu! Char! Tatu! Ni! One!
It's
Podcast.
a podcast time, Jamie.
We're
late on this
time,
one.
baby. We're a little late on this one, but
Yeah.
the upload won't be late though.
Yeah, we're late
which
on
is all that
recording
matters. Yeah, we're late on recording it.
it. Yeah, this was a struggle to get to record. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a bit of a struggle to get to record, but
We're
we are
here.
here. We're here and we're ready to podcast.
It's happening.
This is actually probably the episode that I was the most excited about.
Same
that
here.
I was looking forward to the most. Just to kind of like look back. If for some reason you're a weirdo and you download a podcast or you listen to a podcast on YouTube and you don't look at the title, in case you don't know, this is our decade in review episode.
Yes.
So we're going to be going through TV, games, and movies.
Mm-hmm. And a surprise category that I added just myself as a meme.
Oh no! Okay, don't tell me. I'll wait for you to throw it on me. And yeah, so real quick before we actually get into the thick of it, just so get the explanation of how it works out the gate. Basically, Bobby and I separately went through the entire decade and chose our top 5 movies, video games, and TV shows. And then some honorable mentions for each, except for games, apparently for TV for Bobby, because he didn't put
do any
honorable mentions in.
Didn't do it.
Also, quick important details about it. This is just our own opinions. If your opinion is different, or if it's the same, we would actually love to hear your opinion in the comments or on Twitter or whatever it is. If there is a movie, at least for mine, that you think I should have put in honorable mentions or in the top 5, there is a 95% chance that I probably haven't watched it.
Yes,
or
that
there's
is an
a game I
important
haven't
thing.
played.
Yeah, the very important thing is these are all things that we've played or watched. These aren't, I'm not giving any points to a game that I know is really good, but I didn't play it. If I didn't play a game, I'm not putting on my list. If I didn't watch a movie, I'm not putting. These are all just movies, TV shows, games that we've personally interacted with.
Also, 2 quick caveats, one about games and one about TV. For games, we put the ruling that if it makes it into our top 5, we have to have finished the game.
Yes.
Live service games that don't actually have an ending, of course, just have the ruling that you had to have put like a pretty decent amount of time into the game, because we're reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And for TV, a majority of the show had to have taken place in the 2010s. So that doesn't mean a show that started between 2010 and 2019. Just a majority. So if it had, or if it's like an even number season. So like, let's say we have a show that's, aired in 2008 and it ran until, let's say it ran for like 4 years. So 2 years in the previous decade, 2 years in the current, that's totally fine. But at that or more,
yeah, at least 50% of it had to be in this decade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the only like specifics that we have to. Also,
Yeah,
Bobby and I haven't told each other what our lists are.
No, I have no idea what's on your list.
And I have no idea what's on yours.
I kind of drunkenly showed you mine.
I already forgot.
Yeah, but it's whatever. We were drunk. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with TV first. And Bobby, why don't you kick us off with TV?
Yeah, because my list is short because I don't have any honorable mentions. So my list, I actually don't watch that much TV. You watch a lot more TV than I do.
Gross amount.
I spend more of my I'm definitely more of a video game player than you
Definitely.
are, and you're more of a TV watcher than I am. But for me, I did number 5, Better Call Saul, because that show's fucking great. And I think probably with like the next couple seasons, it honestly has the chance to be as good, if not better, than Breaking Bad. In my opinion, it's fucking solid. Everything about that show is completely solid.
Watch it.
You really do. It is a fucking great show, especially with like Breaking Bad.
Well,
Better Call Saul is perfect.
Since they announced that I think it's their 6th season,
Fifth.
is going to fifth, whichever one is going to be the last one. Because I think I read
Oh,
somewhere
no,
where
six.
it's like,
6 is the last one. 6 is the last one. Sorry.
yeah, so because 6 is going to be the last one, which is not the like current season, but the one after, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait till it's about to air, and then I'm going to binge watch all of the first 5 seasons. Basically what I did with Breaking Bad, where I'm going to watch all of the previous seasons and then watch the final one as it airs.
Yeah, that is a good idea for this show too, because without spoiling too much about it, they do this thing where the first scene in every season is a black and white scene of like post Breaking Bad Saul Goodman's life. They only do it for one scene at the beginning of each season, and it is the most interesting parts of the whole show. I'll say that right now. Every one of those scenes is a fucking straight banger. So it would make sense to wait till the end, because then you basically get to watch all of those without wondering what the fuck's about to happen next. And in my opinion, I really hope that it leads to there's a rumor that season 5 is going to wrap up his storyline, and then season 6 is going to be all post Breaking Bad Saul Goodman's life. Like all of the little teasers at the beginning are all basically a tease for a last season that is all about Saul, like post Breaking Bad, which would be fantastic.
Basically his own El Camino.
Yeah, but like in form of a TV show.
Yeah.
And
form.
I gotta say, brilliant move, because when they first pitched the show, it was going to be a 30-minute comedy show. And very
Definitely
that was the original pitch, and that's what AMC wanted them to do. But then Vince Gilligan said, as he was writing the script, he's like, I think I have a good dramatic, serious story to tell about Saul Goodman. And they changed it to a 1 hour long drama series, just like Breaking Bad is. And it's fucking great. So great decision by them. Yeah, great show. Number 4, actually a show that I completely forgot about somehow. I had Brooklyn Nine-Nine here first, but then I switched it out for Stranger Things. I totally forgot about Stranger Things. I don't know how. I don't know how I did that. I fucking love Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is fucking great, man.
It's great. It's a great show. It's a great show.
It's so good.
I know some people didn't like season 3 as much. I thought season 3 was the best season so far, in my opinion.
I honestly, I would agree. I think I would agree.
Yeah, season 3 is fucking great.
Yeah, it's really fucking good.
Yeah, it's a good thing when you have a show where you can only point to one episode that was bad, and that was the episode with all the other the side characters that were like in that weird punk group that Eleven's sister was in.
Yeah.
That was just terrible.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a spin-off actually.
Really?
They did that episode as like a test to see how people responded to the characters.
That was
And
not
people
a positive
people
response.
didn't like it, so they canceled the spin-off.
That's fair.
Yeah. And number 3, my favorite comedy of all time, the funniest show television has ever produced. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Such a good show.
Endlessly rewatchable. I think I'm literally, because me and my fiance are watching it again right now. Together, it's our 3rd time watching it. Me by myself, it's my 9th time watching the series all the way through.
How
love
is that
this show.
not number 1 for you?
Now
I know what I know what your number one's
one
going
is.
to be.
Yeah,
I know what your number 1. I think it's the same as mine.
probably is.
But
Yeah, I fucking love Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's a great show.
it's such a great show.
Number 2, Watchmen, even though it only had one season. God, so that's so good. It's such a banger. I think if they were able to come out with more of it and have it be on the same level as season 1, it could eclipse what my number 1 show is. But they're not doing anymore. They're done with it. David Lindelof quit. HBO decided to leave it as it is.
Which I am so holla fucking hallelujah,
on board
dude.
with that. If David
Holy
Lindelof
shit.
doesn't want to do it and he doesn't think there's a story, leave it. And that's what they're doing.
And the
That's
head of
perfect.
HBO even said that if in the future Lindelof comes back and says, I do think I have a story, they are 100% down for him picking it back up again.
Mm-hmm.
But up until then, they are leaving it alone, which I think is great.
Yeah. So yeah, Watchmen, fantastic. I mean, we did a whole episode about how fucking great it is. So I don't need to say anything else. Go listen to that one if you want to hear me talk about how fucking great this show is.
Watch that show first.
Yeah, Big
you
Black
haven't
Dong. It's the greatest show ever.
Blue Dong.
Number one, Breaking Bad. Come on.
Dude.
How is it not number one? It's the best show of all time.
It's such a good fucking show. It's phenomenal. I
Like-
have thrown the idea around a while, going back and rewatching it. I've actually been thinking. So you remember way back in the first iteration of this podcast, how you basically like forced me to do a string of episodes in a row just talking about the Breaking Bad seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should do that again.
It's so.
I think
we should do a
totally should
Breaking
do it
Bad
again.
episode. 100%.
We should do. I think what we should do is we should both separately watch through it, and then come back and do like a Breaking Bad retrospective.
100%.
You know,
This show is fantastic. It's timeless. It's so good. I can
It's
rewatch
so
the
good.
show 1,000 times. It's still great.
you know what's really fucking funny? Out of all of my favorite shows, it's the one show I have only watched one fucking time.
Oh, really?
I've only watched through Breaking Bad the one time.
That is interesting.
So I've never watched it, you know, in a row completed, because I watched everything up until the episode where it ends with like Hank pooping,
Mm-hmm.
before they took the break, and then the show came back for the final half of the last season, and then I watched that weekly at the time. So
I do gotta
that's
say,
the
though-
only time I've watched it.
Okay, one gripe with Breaking Bad, because you just reminded me of this. When they did that break for like the half season, and then they came back for the second half of season 5, just fucking called season 6. You waited a year. That's a season break.
I think
That's not a half season break. You fucking moron.
I think everywhere labels it as. Oh no! A bunch of places label it as. Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, they
Label it season
released
6.
a fucking Blu-ray of it. Just the first half, because I bought it. They released
Stupid.
season 5, the first part, on Blu-ray before the second part came out.
So
Just
dumb.
call it season 6. Just call it season 6. Either way, it's the perfect television show. It does everything.
It's so good.
It's funny. It's really funny when it needs to be really, really funny.
Yeah.
It's really emotional when it needs to be really emotional. It's badass when it needs to be badass. It does everything perfectly. There's nothing negative you can say about that show. I firmly believe that. It's perfect.
That's fair, man. That is very, very, very fucking
Yeah.
fair.
And I will just throw
Yeah,
out, just because I said it, I guess I do have an honorable mention. I'll throw out Brooklyn Nine-Nine as an honorable mention. That's a solid show all the way throughout. It's really funny. Love all the characters. I could watch that show forever. Like it's another great comedy.
That's a fantastic show.
And despite the ending, I'll throw an honorable mention to Game of Thrones. Despite the ending, it was a great ride. You know, season 1 through 4, some of the best TV of all time. Shame it had to end that way, but shout
Yeah.
out to Game of Thrones.
See, this is when our podcast is about to get super uncomfortable.
Why is that?
So, all right, because
Start with your honorable mentions first.
start with my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
that's how I'm going to do my other ones. Is start with honorable mentions and then.
there are 3. So I have 7 honorable mentions, for fuck's sake. 3 of them have like a specific reason why they're on an honorable mention. So I'm going to do the rest first. So honorable mentions are Black Mirror, Daredevil. I gave Daredevil and Jessica Jones like the same spot on the honorable mentions. Misfits, because that's a fucking great show. And The Flash, because I just, even though it's trash, I still loved that show. Okay. There's the first one I was going to put in my top 5, and I'll tell you what spot it was actually going to take over when I get to my list. But the reason why I didn't put it on is because I actually didn't finish it, because I refused to finish it, because I refused to accept the fact that it's over, which is The Leftovers. 3-season long show, also done by Damon Lindelof, who did Watchmen. It's a fucking phenomenal TV show. The first 2 seasons are borderline perfect. But when I couldn't get behind like watching only one last season. Like, it didn't get canceled. It just ended because he only had a 3-season story to tell, which I can respect. But
You gotta respect David Lindelof for that, man. Like,
me too.
if he feels there's no story there, he's just like, let's not do it.
Exactly. Like, especially when coming off of a show that's the complete opposite with fucking Lost.
Yeah, which went way too long. I think that's when he learned his lesson.
Another one on my honorable mention, which has a reason behind it, is Key and Peele. Mostly because I'm a firm believer in the fact that even without Key and Peele, I do think that Jordan Peele was at some point in his career going to be recognized for the phenomenal writer that he is. But I really feel that Key and Peele is what like kept him in the limelight after Mad TV. That then helped him transfer that into making a couple comedies and then finally transitioning that into making Get Out and Us and stuff like that.
What an insane what a transition that guy had. Like, kudos to him.
It's ridiculous.
Bro. It's insane.
Yeah.
Props
and,
to him.
The thing that like drives me crazy about it, which is in like a good way, is that like I love both of those movies so much. They're so fucking good.
I've seen Get Out, but I didn't see Us, but Get Out is fantastic.
Dude, hot take. I liked Us more, personally. Even though I think Get Out is like fantastic, but I was a bigger fan of Us just because like I felt like it, like you'll get what I mean when you watch Us, but I felt like it was a lot more of like a heart pounding like thriller over Get Out, but like because like I felt like Get Out was a lot more psychological. But yeah, so and then last one was Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, just because I'm a huge fan of Anthony Bourdain.
Rest in peace.
It's a fucking great show.
He's a real one. The world is definitely worse without him. I'll say that.
Totally agree. All right, here's my top 5. I'm also going to start at 5, of course. Number 5, I actually put Stranger Things at number 5.
Originally, Stranger Things was at number 5 for me as well.
Only reason why is what is at number 4, and I feel like I'm going to have to argue my point for number 4, but we'll get to that when I get there. Before I give number 4, I want you to guess what number 4 is, but the reason why I put Stranger Things at number 5 is only because of the fact that it's not over. Which isn't a negative.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that it's still going because I feel like there's so many different things that they can do with that show. Yes,
and especially season 4 going like they're not in Hawkins anymore. They're traveling. That's gonna bunch of fresh air, and I think it's gonna change the formula a little bit, and I like it.
Totally,
I'm on board.
Me too. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really, really, really good. So, Stranger Things number 5. Okay, so Leftovers was gonna be number 4, and this show wasn't gonna be on the list originally. It was gonna be an honorable mention, but I put it on here instead. I want you to take a wicked guess what you think.
It's Game of Thrones. I know it's Game of Thrones.
So even though Game of Thrones had a horrible ending, I was trying my best to like think of it as a whole and not solely focus on the finale. Like, of course, taking the finale into account, which is the reason why it's not 3, 2, or 1.
Yeah.
And it's also my previous point of why Stranger Things is number 5 is the reason why Game of Thrones is not number 5 and Stranger Things is 4. It's just because Game of Thrones doing this list is now a complete package. It is a complete series that is now done and it's over. So I could look at it as a total complete show. And I also, even though I hated the final season and a large portion of the season before that, the rest of the show I actually liked a lot. And the reason why it's still on my list is because I felt like Game of Thrones got to the point after I'd say after the Red Wedding. I would say after the Red Wedding, Game of Thrones stopped being fun, and this is not in a bad way, a fun weekly television show into more of like an event.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I will say, you have to give Game of Thrones massive props for the fact that when you think of this decade, Game of Thrones really is the show that defined this decade.
Totally.
You can't take that, like, despite the last season, despite everything that went wrong with that show, Game of Thrones really was the TV event of the year, like nothing else has ever been before.
Totally.
Like, and you have to respect that. Just like, say what you will about the writers or whatever, you have to respect the fact that it elevated event TV to an insane level that I don't know if we're ever going to see again on, like, you know, a network like that. Like, maybe like Amazon with all their money will be able to do it, but I don't think even HBO will be able to reach that height ever again.
Me neither. You know, like I totally agree. Like I think like my biggest problem with the whole like negative thing towards Game of Thrones, like even though like every single complaint towards Game of Thrones I feel like is perfectly valid, and I'd say probably 90 to 95% of them I 100% agree with. I just feel like a lot of people are letting, because like what, it was 8 seasons?
Yeah, 8 seasons.
Yeah, like eight, like even though I know a lot of people had issues with previous seasons as well, I feel like it's probably safe to say that like 8 was at its like poo-pooest.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely the worst.
You know,
it's not even close.
I feel like a lot of people are taking that season and letting it overshadow everything, forgetting the fact that like Game of Thrones is the show that had like the cultural phenomenon of the Red Wedding, you know,
and Hard Home, Battle of the Bastards, so many like pop culture touchstone moments of the past 10 years are Game of Thrones.
Also,
like Hold the Door is a worldwide known reference that everybody knows what Hold the Door means.
Yeah,
right, and that's Game of Thrones.
And it also gave us a fucking phenomenal cast as well.
Oh yeah,
like I feel
those
like
guys are going to go on to have insane careers.
Yeah, like, and some of them already had really good careers previously too.
But the rebirth of Peter Dinklage as a serious actor,
oh dude,
man, I can't be happier. He's great.
Me too. You know, like I even though I feel like she was kind of given like a crappy character, I feel like Sophie Turner is a really, really, really good actor. And I'm excited to see what she does after. I'm a big fan of Lena Headey. I became a really big fan of Kit Harington. I'm excited to see him in the Eternals.
Yep, he's gonna be great. Richard Madden as well. He's fantastic.
Oh, dude,
I think he deserves more.
Good.
Like once the Red Wedding happened, I thought he was gonna be catapulted into insane stardom, and I was disappointed it didn't happen. But there's still time, and I think he deserves it.
You know what? I think that's starting, and it's because of a different show. It's because of Bodyguard.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Bodyguard just came out of nowhere, and people are like, have you fucking heard of Richard Madden? And people are like, yeah, we've heard about him for like years.
Yeah, he's fucking bomb. He's super good.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Maisie
Williams
he's also,
too. She's great.
Oh, yeah. Like the entire cast just
I think if
job.
anyone's going to come out of Game of Thrones, though, the biggest star, I think it's going to be Maisie.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Like, even though obviously Sophie Turner, she's kind of at that level right now because, you know, Jean Grey and X-Men and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But I really think that Maisie Williams has the most potential out of everyone. Yeah. And I mean, realistically speaking, she's going to be the most famous out of everyone from that show.
I totally agree. So yeah, that's my number 4.
I still hate you for putting it in top 5 though.
I know. Number 3 is a show you still haven't watched yet. But you gotta watch Amazon's Fleabag. Fucking great show. It did something that I really, really like, which is the creator of the show. She came in, she did 1 season and was like, that's it. And then she's like, actually, you know what? I think I could do a second one. Comes in, does a second season. I would say it's even better. And then she's like, you know what? That's it. And Amazon's like, okay. And that was it. And she left. She she left the show like at its absolute height. She could have fucking, you know, run that character and that world to the ground. Just make absolutely every single goddamn penny off of that TV show that she could. But she didn't.
Props.
and I respect the hell out of her for it. She's a phenomenal writer. I'm really excited for the next Bond movie because she co-wrote that movie as well. And yeah, it's a great show. I think they're half-hour episodes, or maybe they're an hour, but like the seasons are pretty short. It's insanely funny. It's easily one of the funniest shows that I've seen in a really long time. And I would say, oh man, just off the top of my head, I only think I recognized one actor out of both seasons, which is a great thing to see because I'm so used to being like, oh, like, you know, watching a show or a movie and being like, this person's in that and this and that. So you kind of like, I kind of pull myself out of the mystique of watching these characters do this thing in this world. But because I didn't recognize anybody, it was just, they are just these characters. And then the characters just also happen to be super entertaining and really likable, but then also not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I would totally recommend it. It's a fucking great show. It's really, really good. Real funny. So so our lists ended up matching up a lot more than I thought they were going to be. So my number 2 pick is Watchmen.
I knew it. I knew that our top 2 were going to be the same. 100%. I knew it.
I already said my piece about Watchmen, man. Like it's we did a whole podcast.
We did an hour and a half on Watchmen. I think the podcast hour and a half.
Like I think so. You know, like it's that was just like, I'm a huge fan of the comic book, and you know, hearing that they were doing something from the comic book and then that it was going to be original story, and then I had already watched the first 2 seasons of Leftovers a while before, you know, they were announced that Damon Lindelof was going to be doing it. So when they announced him, I was like, I like Leftovers. I like Damon Lindelof. Cool. Sick. Okay, I'm down. I'm totally in. And then trailers came out and I was like, that looks really cool. And I'm like, oh, cool. Regina King's in it. And, you know, and Jeremy Irons is in it. And he's playing Ozymandias and
fucking
this
killed it.
And that. And I was like, everything is coming together to make it. I was like, going into the show, I was like, it can only be one of 2 things. It can either be absolute garbage dog shit, or it can be like just amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm really, really glad that it was amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, hot take. I mean, probably not a hot take. Probably most people agree with it. Jeremy Irons deserves an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor for Watchmen. 100%.
I 100% agree.
100%. He's the best part of that show.
Totally.
He's great.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
All right. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going to be number 1, Jamie? Everyone's waiting. No one knows what it is.
It's Breaking Bad.
Hey, what a shocker.
It's Breaking Bad.
It's Breaking Bad.
It's
the best.
It's the best show of all time.
Yeah.
It's a great show. And I feel like with a show like that, you only get a show like that like, because I feel like even though Breaking Bad is a significantly better show than Game of Thrones on, I feel, every aspect that it does. Mm-hmm. And but yet Game of Thrones was the event show. Mm-hmm. I feel like Breaking Bad was like, I don't think we're going to get another show that like captivates the audience as insane as Breaking Bad did. You know, like I think I was reading somewhere where like the show was doing really well on AMC. Like it wasn't doing bad. It wasn't at risk of getting canceled or whatever the case was. Like it was going to do its run and it was going to finish, no problem whatsoever. But I heard once that show went up on Netflix, it was fucking done deal from there. Like it went insane. And I feel like that was, you know, even though, of course, we have, you know, shows like Stranger Things and we have House of Cards and this and that, and we have like all these streaming service shows now. I feel like this was like the first like streaming service craze. because like this was the first show I hadn't heard the term binge watch until someone brought it up to me talking about watching through Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Breaking Bad, I would say, is the first show that I like binged like all the way through, because I picked it up right as the season 3 finale was airing.
Oh, okay.
And I watched season 1, 2, and 3 in probably 4 days. Like, it was all I did for 4 days. Like,
That's fair.
Yeah, because this was back when I worked part-time at the time. So I had a lot of like free time to myself. So I spent all my free time watching that show. I just couldn't get enough of it. I fucking love that show.
I remember too. I remember like it was yesterday. So like, I don't know if you remember this, but you are the person who got me into Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had tried watching it. You know, I watched the first 2 episodes and I just wasn't really digging it. You know, I was like, I can see how it's good, but it's like kind of boring. And you're like, you just got to get through the first season. You're like, you at least just have to get up until like the second to last or the last episode of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it was like episode 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a short season. It was a pretty short season.
Yeah. And you're like, you just got to get up to there, and everything else is gangbusters after. Everything is fucking great after. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't know. And then you sent me a YouTube video. I remember it was like it only had like stuff from the first season and then tiny little bits about the second season. And it was basically a video that was basically describing early Jesse in the show, not later Jesse, but early Jesse as the closest thing that the show has, that the main character has to like a villain or something like that. It like looking back at it at hindsight, out of the entirety of the show, the video is fucking horribly wrong. Yeah. But I remember watching it and I was like, oh wow. I'm like, and this is all stuff that is past the episodes that I had seen. So I was like, all right, I'll give it another try. And I was sick one day, and I think it was episode 5 is what got me. And it was when, cause the episode starts with like sirens, and then the camera comes on and it's Walt, with a shaved head, standing outside of an exploding building, walking away with a bag of money. And I was like,
there's like blood dripping from him and shit.
I was like, I'm fucking in.
Yeah,
like,
that was the hook moment for me too, because one thing I will say about Breaking Bad, and it's weird because it's not a negative, but season 1 is pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
And I say that's not a negative because once you get to the like season 2, 3, and it, like especially season 4 and 5, with like all the fucking crazy shit that's going on in their lives, you appreciate that more, and you like the fact that it kind of forced you to ride along with these characters when their life was more normal. So you appreciate the craziness a little bit more because you've seen both sides. You've seen the slow like melding into this crazed psychopathic character. You've seen that slow gradual decline of Walter White. It wasn't just, oh, he was a teacher, now he's fucking meth dealing fucking crazy murderer guy. It was like it was a slow gradual thing, and not enough shows to bother to take that time to do that. And it makes the boring parts in season 1 worth it to watch. Yeah,
totally.
One last thing I have to say about Breaking Bad. Okay. Like, I don't talk about this a whole lot because it's not like, especially not anymore, because it's kind of, become less and less a part of my life as life goes on, and I have responsibilities and stuff. But my main goal in life is I want to make a TV show. I have a pilot that I've written, and like that's my main goal in life. That's like my main drive. Is I want to write a TV show. Breaking Bad kills that dream for me because I watched that show and I'm like, it's never gonna be that good though. Like every time I watch that show, I'm like, I should give up. It's never gonna be this good.
You're like, it's all over now.
It's the most unmotivating thing of all time. but also kind of is also super motivating because I think, you know, like, what if I am able to hit that? Like, what if I am able to do what this show did? But I know that I never will. But I just gotta say, like, that's, you know, that Breaking Bad has affected my life more than anything, really.
Yeah, that is a fair fucking statement. Mm-hmm. There was one other thing that I was going to say, but I totally forget what it was, so I'm just going to skip past it. Real quick before we move on. So I just have to bring this up because it's on my computer. So when I was going through my like top TV shows, I was going through different articles and stuff like that of people breaking down their top 10 or top 50s or super long fucking lists. Of like basically like the last decade for TV shows, just to kind of like jog my memory of like what happened in TV over the last decade. Because like I can remember what happened over the last couple years, but fucking early 2010s, dude, done.
That's forever ago.
So there's this Vulture article that I found that I want you to take a guess what they label as the best show of the decade.
It's gonna be something stupid like The Walking Dead or something.
That's way worse.
How can it be worse than The Walking Dead?
The Twin Peaks revival.
Oh, fuck off! Are you serious? Mm-hmm. God, no.
Yeah, the Twin Peaks revival is labeled as the best show of the decade. And then there's a part under that says the 5 shows that missed the top spot by the slimmest of margins. And the 5 shows are The Americans, Breaking Bad, a show called Enlightened, The Leftovers, and Mad Men.
All right. Okay. Sure.
Oh, God. Ridiculous. Anyways, to move away from
Morons.
that.
Morons.
Do you want to go to games next?
Actually, we're gonna take a quick break. To do the sponsored segment of the podcast today, sponsored by.
We don't have a sponsor.
But it's sponsored by nobody at all. I just wanted to do this as a meme. Bobby's sports moments of the decade. All right, top 5 sports moments of the decade.
Oh, this is what you brought up earlier. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing top 5. Eagles beat the Patriots. I don't like football, but fuck the Patriots. Go Eagles. Number 4, the Vancouver Canucks make the Stanley Cup Finals 2011. We lost so bad we rioted and burned the fucking city down. Number 3, LeBron James joins, and then leaves Cleveland again, all in the span of 10 years. Number 2, the Warriors choke a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. And number 1, and the only reason I want to do the segment, the Toronto Raptors win the NBA championship.
Oh my God.
Never forget. NBA champion, Toronto Raptors.
All right.
Never forget.
Top 5 games of the decade, Bobby.
Go Raptors.
Oh my God. All right, give your fucking games, lame-o.
All right, I'm gonna do my honorable mentions here first. I also have 7 honorable mentions for games.
Okay, I only have 5 for games.
There's too many. So for my first honorable mention, I give it to Dishonored because I really, really like that game. That was a solid ass game. Never completed the sequel because it on my old PC it ran pretty poorly.
Like most people's computers.
Yeah, it was not a good PC port. But now that I have my new stupidly powerful PC, I might give it another shot. Another honorable mention, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
Kind of hard to ignore that game. Played that game a fucking shitload, especially the online mode. Me and Jamie used to, oh man.
Dude, do you remember
we
GTA
played that
4
so much
before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we played.
We would just fantasize about GTA 5.
Yeah, one more time. Anyways, keep going.
A game that I really, really wanted to put in my top 5. Not only my top 5, but like high up there in my top 5. But just with how buggy and messy it is, and it does look pretty dated at this point. I put Fallout New Vegas. I fucking love Fallout New Vegas.
Great game.
It is a fantastically made game. If they ever put out a Fallout New Vegas remastered, sign me the fuck up, because Fallout New Vegas is a masterpiece of a game.
Dude, you got to finish Outer Worlds.
I really do. I really do have to finish that game. Another honorable mention, just because I needed to put a Halo game in here. My favorite Halo game of the decade, Halo Reach.
So good.
Such a fucking good game. Super happy that's on PC now.
Me too.
I'm gonna go through and do the campaign.
Hell yeah.
We should do it co-op. Maybe that'd be fun.
I would totally be down for that.
Yeah. Another honorable mention. I put this as an honorable mention because I have not actually beaten it. But I honestly, if I had beaten it, it'd probably be number 1 on my list because holy fuck do I love this game and I need to beat it. And that's Bloodborne. Ooh. Holy shit, Bloodborne is so good. Like, I know it's kind of a meme at this point talking about how good fucking Bloodborne and Dark Souls is on the internet, but fucking Bloodborne is perfection. It's perfection. Only thing is, I cannot play it because of the frame rate. It is like, man, if the PS5 comes out and the PS5, all it needs is a Bloodborne, not a Bloodborne remastered, just a Bloodborne like enhancement that plays it at 60 frames per second. I will buy a PlayStation 5 day one if it has that. 100%.
Dude, such a
Love
good
that
game.
Love that game.
I know you're still doing your honorable mention, but I'm actually just going to throw that out there. I'm actually really excited to hear what your top 5 games are because I feel like our lists are going to be pretty fucking different. Just because like we both played like a lot of different games through the decade, so I'm stoked to hear that. But go ahead and finish your honorable mentions first.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive, just because it's my most played game of all time.
That's fair.
I literally have 1,500 hours in this game, which is ridiculous. It's definitely not the best game. But in terms of like competitive first-person shooters, there's nothing else out there than CS:GO. It's the best, and it's probably a game that I'll play forever. Like I don't know if I'll ever fully quit that game. And just because I feel like it's kind of weird to do a 2010 decade in review without a Call of Duty game at least mentioned. My favorite Call of Duty game of the decade, Call of Duty Black Ops. Love Black Ops. Great campaign, the best zombies out of any of the Call of Duty games, and had a fucking banging ass multiplayer. Played the shit out of Call of Duty Black Ops. There's a reason why it's still to this day the highest selling Call of Duty of all time. It's great.
It's
fucking
a great game.
Fantastic game. Yeah, Call of Duty went to shit after this game came out.
Oh yeah.
And kind of made a comeback this year.
Yeah,
not really.
Sort of. They tried the best.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the juicy bits. The juicy bits. This list was so difficult for me, Jamie. Dude, you have no idea.
My game list was super difficult too. I felt like that was like probably the hardest one for me was my games. Mm-hmm. Like I thought 100%. like I could also tell going through the list like which like I could tell the time because like of course I didn't except for maybe like a few games that I wrote down that I knew I didn't finish, but I wanted to add it as an honorable mention. But like the rest of the games on the list going through 2010 to 2019, I wrote down all the games that I played and enjoyed. And I could tell what year I kicked off and started playing more games. It was like 2014. And because like once it hit 2014 and on, the lists were like 3 times longer.
Yeah, this was a crazy decade for video games, man.
Dude.
It's just like I think
Banger
the five were pretty solidified pretty early, but the ordering of the 5 was a pain in my fucking ass
fair.
To do. Like even now as I'm looking at it, I want to change some stuff. But I won't. It's a finalized list, right? Number 5. Doom 2016. Holy fucking shit. This is like it's the best shooter. It's so everything good about this game. Every game that I play, I always turn the music down. Doom is the only game where I turn the rest of the fucking game volume down so I could have the music be the loudest thing I hear.
You know what I do? I turn the effects just a little bit down just because they can be a little loud in that game. Mm-hmm. I turn the dialogue about 3/4 of the way down.
Yep.
But then I keep music at max.
Of course.
Dude, that
best
soundtrack.
Video game soundtrack of all time.
Holy shit.
So good.
Mick Gordon is a genius.
He really is. Really is. Super excited for Eternal.
Me too. And he also did the Wolfenstein, the Machine Games Wolfenstein
Those
games.
also have
Those have
banging soundtracks.
especially the most recent one, New Colossus. I feel like that one's probably got, in my opinion.
I love how you just completely disregard Young Blood, which just came out.
What?
No one cares about that game, though. That game just didn't exist. Fuck that game.
What game?
Wolfenstein Young Blood
Youngblood.
came out this year. Or no, it came out 2019.
Youngblood.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Like
you're
a
talking about.
shitty, it's a terrible co-op shooter. I know that you're just memeing on me right now.
I'm fucking okay. Good.
I know. Yeah, 2 in 2016. Number 5. Number
I
4.
bought that game.
Oh,
I know.
That's
I didn't
rough.
finish it. Anyways,
That's
sorry.
rough.
Keep going.
number 4. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Whew.
Fair. That's a game I
Man.
haven't played.
This one, when I originally wrote down the list, this one was at number 1. I really, really like this game.
I wonder what's that.
Just
3,
the
2,
minute-to-minute gameplay. The minute-to-minute gameplay of this game is phenomenal. Just exploring the world. I'll say, like, some of the shrines, bit fucking repetitive. Kind of boring that they all have the same visual style. But when you're just like walking around the open world, it's like they make just walking around the funnest part of the game. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's great. Number 3.
I would love to add to it, but I haven't played that game, so I'm useless in this conversation.
Also, just to say, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, one of the only games I've ever seen my fiance like get completely addicted to.
Oh, seriously?
She's actually played more of that game than I have.
Oh shit.
Not only has she played it through twice, she beat all of the shrines, which there's a shitload of those shrines. She beat every single one of those shrines.
Damn.
And she made me go and buy the DLC so she could play through that. She loves that game.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. Number 3. I know there's a lot of criticisms of the game, but I love it. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Great game.
So good. Just like the story, like easily, in my opinion, the best like writing of characters. Okay, so apparently my fiance can hear me right now. She came home, she can hear me, and she texted me. She said, "I beat all of the side quests and I beat all of the DLC." All right, shout out to Caitlin.
Shout out to
Beating all
Caitlin.
the side quests and the DLC. You didn't get all the Korok seeds though. Get on it.
Oh, all the little poopies.
Yeah, all the poopies. You literally get a poop freaking animal.
I know.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. Some of the best character writing, like not even just in a video game, just like in anything. It's fantastic. Those characters are so well written. It's ridiculous. Like just walking around the camps, just having fun. A cowboy boy, just talking to your friends. How did they make talking to people in a video game fun? That's the worst part of every video game.
It is.
Dialogue, but they made it the best part. I love it. I will say I do understand some of the criticisms of like the design of some of the missions and how linear they
Yeah.
are and how it doesn't really allow you to be like smart with how you do the missions. Understandable, but everything else that this game does is insane. Also, to this day, the most beautiful looking game I've ever played.
Oh, it's a fucking gorgeous game.
It makes no sense to me how Rockstar was able to do that.
I'm gonna be honest with you real quick while we're still talking about Red Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my top 5, bitch. It ain't even fucking honorable mention.
Oh goddamn!
Yeah, dude. I really like that game, like a lot, a lot. It's a fucking great game. But yeah, no, dude, it's not even top 5, not even honorable mention for me. It's because like I went a little bit more, I went a specific direction with my honorable mention, which I'll get into eventually. But sorry,
I got you.
keep going. What, number 2 are you on? Or?
I know that a game is going to be great for me when, like I literally, like because I'm a pretty emotional person,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't cry a whole lot at video games.
Me neither.
But when a video game is able to make me cry, just from its narrative, I know that's something special. And Red Dead Redemption did that a lot to me. I cried quite a bit
That's fair.
during multiple parts of it. Like not even just like, oh, I cried at the end. Like I cried during multiple points, like even halfway through the story. Like there's just, It's a fantastic game. Number 2, probably the game I consider to be the most perfect example of like probably quite literally a perfect video game. And that's Portal 2.
Oh, dude.
Portal 2 is what probably the greatest made game of all time. Like
It's such a good game.
It's such a perfect like product. Like it's polished, fucking like fully shiny. Like there's no scuffs on that game at all. The gameplay is super engaging. I played through it multiple times to try and like get as fast as I could. But the puzzle design is super like well thought out. The writing and the voiceovers by J.K. Simmons, he nailed that game for me. Like his rendition of I forget what his fucking character's name is, but fantastic.
So good.
And I've never been more immersed in a game than that part where you fall all the way down to the bottom of Aperture Science, and you're in like the old school like shitty like 70s version of Aperture Science. That's the most immersed I've ever been in a video game in my entire life.
It's so good.
I could not put the controller down. I literally missed multiple days of school for this game when it came out. Not even lying. And number 1, my favorite game of all time, The Witcher 3.
Okay.
It's The Witcher 3.
That's fair.
I love The Witcher 3.
That is very, very fair.
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, it's a fucking phenomenal game. I'm in the middle of playing it like right now. And I don't even think I'm fucking close to finishing it right now, but it's a phenomenal game.
It really is.
It's easily like one of the best video games I've ever played. It's so good.
Yeah. And yes, there are some criticisms people can say about the combat and the control, like how you control Geralt and how kind of stupid it looks, and Roach is very glitchy and stuff, but like just as a complete package, to me nothing comes close to it.
And like even though I've kind of run into and understand those issues, it's never really like affected my opinion of the game or the overall enjoyment of the game. Like, yeah, there's some times where I'm like standing, in an open area and I whistle to call Roach and he's over in fucking Uganda. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing there, you idiot?
Yeah.
Or like he spawns on the side of a mountain and I'm in a ravine. I'm like, what are you doing? And like the combat definitely is a little weird, but I've gotten used to it.
It's pretty
now.
one-dimensional, it's not, there's not a whole lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
It's not like Dark Souls or anything with like super in-depth combat or anything like that, but it's serviceable. And still to this day, the most like I said this on the Witcher podcast that we did, the most emotionally affected I've ever been by a video game. Like by far. Like that game legitimately like affected me on like a base human level.
I'm getting there.
To which like I've never seen before. I legit had to stop. I had to stop playing for days just to like let my emotions sort of wash over me.
Okay, maybe not that bad. Maybe you're just a big baby bitch.
No. I definitely am a big baby bitch. But man, something about like, I don't know, like maybe like the timing in my life or something, like I don't know what it was, but something about that game just like got to me on a very deep level. And I mean, it's number 1.
Yeah.
Of not even of the decade, number 1 of all time.
Yeah, for me it's the characters. That's what gets me in it the most. Not the world, even though like the world and the lore and the main story is like really, really good, and like the side quests are fucking phenomenal and they're super engaging, and there's a lot to do, and it's it like, yes, there are from time to time those side quests or main quests where it's just like, okay, you're Geralt, go from A to B. All right, you're at B. Now go back from B to go from B back to A. Okay, go from A to C. And then the ladies go, ha! And then the quest is over. Like, it's so there are quests like that, but they're few and far between. Like, they made a quest where you save a fucking goat fun somehow. Like that
you get
quest
attacked
where
by
you
the
have
bear and shit.
you get attacked by the bear, and like the dialogue that Geralt does, like calling him a
it's
stupid
hilarious.
piece of shit, is hilarious. It's so good.
Yeah, Geralt as a character like carries the boring moments of that game because
Totally.
just he's just a great character. It's really
So
funny. Yeah, love it. Love that game.
All right.
Plus, there's titties in it.
So now it's my turn.
Let's go.
Our lists are actually there. So just a little hint to my top 5. There is only one game that we both have on our top 5, and it's not even in the same spot. So
Interesting.
Hold on to your butts. Okay, so
Dude, my butt is strapped.
I'm going to go through my honorable first. This first game I added when you were going through your list because I realized that, of course, we had the ruling where for it to be in our top 5, we had to have finished it. But I wanted to at least mention the fact how much I do enjoy this game, so I wrote it down as an honorable part of the way through. We literally just talked about it. It's The Witcher 3. Don't need to go more about it. So Witcher 3 is an honorable mention. So now I have 6 honorable mentions instead of 5. I'm a liar. Another honorable mention, Fallout New Vegas. It was the first game that I like fully engrossed myself into the world and everything about it. It was also the first RPG that I really like threw myself into the representation of my character. Like I would choose dialogue options very deliberately. I would choose ability scores very deliberately because because really early on in the game, like I made it about 2.5, 3 hours into the game, and then I restarted it because about 2.5, 3 hours in is when I realized how important your choices were. Because I had just been doing it willy-nilly. Because I'm like, I'm just here to shoot things. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to shoot things. And they're like, no, here's all this character and all this story and, plot threads that are affected by your choices.
Yeah, one of the very few games that lives up to the idea that your choices impact the world.
Totally.
Because they in that game, they really fucking do.
It's also one of the few games. This is a very short list for me, but it is one of the very few games that I have played so many times that it's more than 5 times. I've played through Fallout New Vegas more than 5 times. It may be one of my favorite games of all time, but not in the top 5, which is the reason why it's not in my top 5. Also, there are issues with the game, very glaring issues that are not represented in my top 5 that I have. So, another one on my honorable mentions. I did finish this game, but just comparing it to my top 5, it was just no contest. But The Outer Worlds, phenomenal game. Fantastic. It was really, really great getting into a game and just being like, wow, this is it gave me everything that I wanted from an open world game without doing the Bethesda thing where they create a giant world and they just plop you in the center and they're like, lol, bye. And they just walk away and then you kind of make your way through the story. But like with this, they're just like, we have a story to tell you. We have all these characters and there's so many different character threads and, there are some negatives to the game. The combat's kind of like Witcher 3 where like the combat's kind of one-dimensional. The you choosing your abilities doesn't really affect anything if you do just a gun build because guns are just they overpower everything. So there's that. This next one I put on there because it's a game I played over and over and over and over and over again, which is Far Cry Blood Dragon.
That's a good ass game.
It's such a good game. Great sound. Like it's got such a good humor behind it. It's, for me, it was kind of a sleeper hit for myself because I was like, oh, they're putting out a Xbox Live arcade game, based in the Far Cry universe. Sounds stupid. And then one of my buddies played it, and he's like, it's actually super fucking good. You should totally play it. And it was an Xbox Live Arcade game, so it was super cheap. So I got it, and I played it. I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is great. This is super funny. And I think honestly that's probably where my obsession with like the synthwave aesthetic started from. It's from Blood Dragon. That's a really good one. I got 2 games left for my honorable. This is taking a lot longer than I thought. The Walking Dead game by Telltale.
Okay. I was going to say, by who? Oh, Telltale. Okay. You good?
That was the first game that I dead ass fucking cried playing so hard. Did you ever finish the first season of Walking Dead game? But
I'm going to tell you this something right real quick, all right?
What?
Not only did I not play the Walking Dead game, the only Telltale game I ever played was the Game of Thrones one.
Oh,
which is dog shit.
It's so bad.
I didn't even finish it. I got to the second to last episode, and I was like, nah, that's terrible.
Dude, it's so bad.
Yeah.
By the way, when I say
I never played the game.
When I say the Walking Dead game, I'm just talking about season 1 because I haven't played.
I
season
assume
2.
so, yeah. Because
I haven't played Michonne.
Also, they're not as good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Everything I've heard is that they peaked pretty much right away.
I just think the Walking Dead game is, even though they have an entire TV show based off of the comic books, I feel like the Walking Dead game season 1 is the closest any other media has come to truly adapting that comic book while also not actually directly adapting the comic book. Because it's just like, there's like maybe 1, 2, I think, if I'm remembering right, characters from the comic book that show up in the game. But it's great. It's such a good game. Last one in honorable, just because it's one of my favorite co-op experiences I've ever had. A Way Out. Super fun game. Pretty short. They don't really reinvent the wheel when it comes to storytelling. Nothing crazy. A lot of people are like, oh, I saw the ending coming. I didn't. I just chalked that up to me probably just being really into the story. I played it with Paris. We played it over the course of, I think, like 2 or 3 days. It was a lot of fun. It's a super fun game. So that's why it's on my honorable. All right. Top 5.
Juicy bits.
The juicy bits. Here's my number 5. Dragon's Dogma. Fucking great game. Super good. It's a game that I have bought on... This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing to admit. I'm going to get made fun of by Paris from this later. I have bought that game on 3 different platforms. I bought it when I had had my Xbox 360. I have it for PS4, and I have it for PC.
My man.
And here's the even funnier part. I have completed that game on all 3. I completed it like once or twice. It's also one of the few games that I've beaten more, like 5 times or more. I beat it like once or twice on the Xbox 360. I beat it once on PS4, and then so only 4 times. Math.
Mm-hmm.
And then once on PC. It's a great game, man. It's so much fun. If people listening, if you haven't played Dragon's Dogma, it's really, really good. Also, the company that develops Dragon's Dogma Online, will you bring it to North America already, please? Thank you very much.
Can I just take this time right now?
Yeah.
I don't want to shun you too bad, but I just feel like this is a good time to remind people that these are all our personal opinions and are not reflective of, Jamie's not saying that Dragon's Dogma is definitively a top 5 game of the decade. He's saying
it's
of the games he's played in this decade.
One of my top
he enjoyed
5.
it. Yes. His personal opinion top 5.
Trust me.
Because I don't think many people would say that Dragon's Dogma was a top 5 game of the decade.
Trust me. People listening. The other 4, so much better. The other 4 make way more sense.
I never played Dragon's Dogma, Jamie, but I did watch one of my favorite YouTube gaming critics, a guy called Joseph Anderson. He has a video on Dragon's Dogma that just roasts the game.
Fair.
That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Shout out to Joseph Anderson. He's the best fucking YouTube gaming critic ever.
Here's the thing. Very important piece of information. I understand every complaint about that game. The writing's super cheesy. The graphics do not hold up very well. There's a pretty decent amount of glitches. But I will fight anybody to fucking death that High Glacial is one of the goddamn best spells in any RPG I have ever played in my entire fucking life. Screaming High Glacial across the room while I'm playing that game when I was living with my old roommates was easily one of the funniest fucking things I've ever had to do. Dude, High Glacial is the bomb. Fuck you.
All right.
Anyways, number 4. Doom 2016.
Boom. Yeah, brother.
Rip and tear. Doom is easily like one of the best games I've ever played. Definitely one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. Probably in the top 3, maybe even number 1.
Yeah.
It has everything that it needed to have. Everything. It's fast. You don't reload. It's gory. It's got a killer soundtrack. The writing in it is both not in your face, but really, really good if you pay attention to it.
Digging into the lore is super fucking interesting, dude. They painted like the story of Doom is actually really good, probably better than most video game stories, and they never fucking talk about it.
And so, for people, I don't know why I'm advertising something on our podcast that we didn't do, but for anybody who wants to watch a really, really good documentary on Doom, go watch the 3-part No Clip series.
It's great.
There's one part, I know you've seen it, but for people listening, there's one part. So id Software probably has the coolest creative director in all of games. Our Lord and Savior, Hugo Martin.
He's the fucking coolest.
He's the fucking coolest. And he was talking about something about the Codex. The Codex is my favorite part in Doom. It's my favorite fucking part. And he was talking about how, because it's the Codex, it's explaining everything. The different demons, the different human characters, the weapons, all that kind of stuff. The monsters. And each entry has a couple different parts. Normally between 2 and 3. And he said, and as you get more parts, the crazier the Codex sounds. So, like, the idea is that the Codex is something that the Doom Marine picked up and is like a manual, basically, that was made by, I think it's UNSC, isn't it?
No, that's
that's Halo.
That's Halo. That's Halo.
Whatever. The Mars.
Yeah, the bad guys.
Bad guys. And
the Mars bad human guys.
Because they're a cult, the more entries you get, the crazier it sounds. Because he says, when you're first joining a cult, it sounds awesome. It sounds wicked. But it's not when you get to like the 3rd or 4th level is when they give you the Book of Secrets and you're like, what the fuck is this? And you're super confused and they're crazy. And I thought that was a genius design choice. And the Codex is hilarious. It's so good. There's one entry, I think it's like an imp or something like that, where it's like, if you ever run into an imp in the dark, you better throw your legs over your shoulders and kiss your ass goodbye. That's hilarious. That's so good. That's genius. But yeah.
Hugo Martin also has one of my favorite clips of all time, like an E3 clip. Where someone edited it during their presentation for Doom Eternal, because Doom Eternal takes place on Earth mostly. It's like it just zooms right in on his face, and he just has like he has like his typical like shit-eating grin on his face, and then he just goes, "You guys want to see hell on Earth?" And then everyone cheers, and like they like edit it with like some fucking like heavy metal music, and like flames are coming around him, and like he has like devil horns.
I fucking love Hugo Martin so much.
He's just so happy. He's like smiling, like fucking ear to ear. It's just, you guys want to see hell on Earth?
I think I saw something somewhere that said that Hugo was possibly promoted to game director for Eternal.
Yeah, he's the main guy.
Dude.
He's had this game since they've begun pre-production.
Also, I read something that got me 1,000 times more excited for the next one, even though I was already pretty stoked. I think it was Hugo that said this, or it was one of the devs, said that there is more badassery and intense combat in the first 3 hours of Eternal than in the entire Doom 2016 game. They throw more at you in the open.
I've heard nothing, like, because they did some hands-on previews in the past couple weeks, and man, everything I'm hearing, I'm so excited for this game. Honestly, like, the fact that all these games are getting delayed, I'm obviously super sad about them, but it just gives me more time to play Doom Eternal.
Dude,
to
I
be
can't
honest,
wait.
like, I'm super excited.
I kind of want to play through Doom 2016 again before it comes out.
I did reinstall it. Ooh. Try and see how it looks on my new PC.
All right.
I'm excited. All right.
Number 3. I don't know if I'm breaking one of our rules. I hope I'm not, because I feel like this is different because it's rebuilt from the ground up. And it's not like a remaster or a re-release. But I have Resident Evil 2.
Oh, that's fine.
As number 3.
That's a great game.
I felt like it was a given that like remasters or re-releases or just like graphical upgraded games wouldn't count.
Yeah, but RE2 is different.
Totally
like,
different.
It's its own thing.
Completely from the ground up remade. So I felt like, and like they also changed and added some story bits too. So it's like basically a brand new game. Resident Evil 2 is took my number 3 spot because that game is fucking baller, dude. Yeah, that game is so good. Game. That's another kind of one of those Doom 2016 things where like I feel like Resident Evil 2 remake, it's got everything that it needs. You know, it's got the atmosphere, it's got the voice acting, it's got the character modeling, the graphics are gorgeous, it plays really, really well, and you know, it still has all those puzzles and mystery and, you know, terrifying scares like they're like the original, but still being able to pull them off from the other angle. It's got, you know, the really cool Easter eggs for people who, you know, are longtime Resident Evil fans. And it's just, and the music is really good. I just think like it has like, it's a really, really good complete package.
Yeah, so much content too. Like, you know, people will complain that the game is pretty short.
It is, yeah.
You know, but it's like the replaying it with the different characters and all that stuff. Like Tofu. It's a solid ass game.
Yeah, really, really good.
Also, finally puts the answer to bed of people who say that the original Resident Evil games are only scary because of the shitty controls.
No, not true at all.
They can go fuck themselves, because this game, in my opinion, is scarier than the original.
I would say it's the scariest RE game I've played. Even, in my personal opinion, even over 7.
I think you're crazy about that, but...
Oh, you think 7 is scarier?
You're allowed to be crazy. Dude, I think 7's one of the scariest games I've ever played.
There's a very important piece of information that I'm forgetting. You, my friend, are a big bitch when it comes to horror.
I am a big bitch. Literally one time I went to go stream Resident Evil 7 and I faked that my stream crashed so I could stop playing it because I was so scared. I faked that everything crashed.
That is so fucking funny.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Because I'm a big baby when it comes to horror games. I just can't handle them.
Horror games are like the height terror for me. Horror TV, comic books, movies, radio plays, for crying out loud. Nothing tops horror video games for me. I think it's just because you can just do so many different things in a video game that you can't do in other mediums. And it's also like that physical thing where it's like, it's not like when you're watching a horror movie, it's the director, the writer, the camera, the actor that are putting you in that situation. But with video games, it's basically a game director makes everything around you and then hands you the controller, and it's like, okay, now you scare yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to fucking do that. I don't want to do that at all.
It sounds terrible.
So Resident Evil 2 is my number 3. Number 2, Okay. Now I'm going to give you some shit. I am so... I can kind of understand if maybe you didn't finish it. But I am so disappointed that you didn't put this not only in your top 5, but at the bare minimum your honorable mentions. Where the fuck was God of War?
Never finished it.
Fair. That's fair.
Never finished it.
But not an honorable
Never
mention?
finished it. Nah.
Dude, that game's so fucking good.
It didn't, like, I was into it, but it's like, I just lost interest.
That's fair.
Like, I truly just lost interest.
I get that.
It's all right. It's all right. Like, in my opinion, the problem with God of War and why I didn't get fully enthralled in it is I started playing God of War at the exact same time I started playing Dark Souls.
Ooh, bad idea.
Which was a bad idea because, like, I don't know if you remember, but when I got into Dark Souls, I got into Dark Souls.
Into fucking Dark Souls.
Into Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls. I don't want to talk about Dark Souls though. So, but I will say, yeah, just because the fact that God of War's combat system is not nearly as deep, I didn't feel like playing it.
That is very fair.
I'll probably go back at some point and play it, and I'll probably love it. But
it's great. It's a great game.
Just didn't get me.
But yeah, that's my number 2 because it's probably like one of my favorite PlayStation exclusives that I've played of this generation. Okay, so I could see your number 1 coming from like a mile away because it's very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea what my number 1 is?
I have no fucking clue at all.
Nothing?
No clue.
Dude, it's the game. It's the game I don't shut up the most about. It's the one I constantly... Dude, it's fucking Last of Us, man. Last of Us is my number 1. Last of Us is fucking amazing.
Another game I couldn't get into Last of Us. I tried. I couldn't do it.
Totally fair.
But everything I hear, it's
so good. It also easily has one of my favorite DLCs I've ever played. Now, very important piece of information. I still haven't done any of the DLC from Witcher 3, so that could change. Once I've done the main storyline of Witcher 3 and I hit past like level 32 or whatever the minimum level is, that might change. But Last of Us Left Behind is also a great DLC. I'm super excited for the second Last of Us. I'm totally cool with it being delayed because, that just means they're putting more polish into it.
Dude, honestly, when I watch the E3 gameplay of that game, now, like, I know what E3, I know how they do the little things with E3 and it doesn't look as good. Dude, if that game does end up looking that good, Naughty Dog are fucking wizards. Like, that game looks on a completely different level than any game I've ever seen.
Here's the thing. I think it's going to look either that good or very close. And I only have one piece of evidence on the reason why. You should go watch some gameplay footage for Uncharted 4, the last Uncharted game. Holy shit.
They're magicians at that fucking studio, man.
It is insane. Yeah, they are. They're fucking magicians, man. Like, it's ridiculous.
Also, yeah, I have heard some things about people that have played the game. They've played it. And they say, like, no, that shit's all real. Mm-hmm. Like, the shit that you saw in the trailer that looked like, that's definitely not, that can't be a part of gameplay. That doesn't make any sense. Apparently, it's all there.
Yeah.
And, like, if that's the final product that gets released, man, kudos to them.
Amazing.
Especially these rumors that all the PlayStation exclusives are coming to PC. Whew.
Yeah.
Spicy.
That'd be fucking crazy. Yeah, because I can't remember if you were the person who told me or if I saw it online, but I saw that, like, I remember hearing or seeing somewhere that I guess, like, there were job postings for Naughty Dog for, I think it was like DirectX 11 or DirectX 12, and people who were, like, have experience in PC porting. And so a lot of people are thinking that...
It was specifically people who have experience working with NVIDIA GPUs.
That's what it was.
Which the PlayStation 5 uses an AMD GPU.
Yeah. So it does not have... So the only explanation for it...
why would they need to hire someone that can work with NVIDIA?
Dude, if like in the next like couple months, they're like, oh, by the way, Last of Us 2 is going to be coming out on PC. Fuck my PS4. There's no way I'm buying Last of Us 2 on my PS4. I'm buying that shit on my fucking computer, dog. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Hell
dude.
yeah, dog.
I'll download another launcher for that. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit. All right. We should move on to movies.
Yep.
Let me fucking hear it, boy.
All right, so I got my honorables here. These were pretty tough, actually.
Also, when I go through my top 5, I'll tell you about the movie that I got a fucking... I got like a pseudo dirty look / tongue lashing from my wife about putting it as my number 1.
Not gonna lie, I had the same experience. Told the coworker my list, and yeah, when I said my number 1, he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" All right, so my honorables. These are tough because some of them I really want to put in top 5. Honorables. Gone Girl. It's a fantastic movie.
Great movie.
Yep. Super good. Ben Affleck's great. A movie that I like Tyler Perry in, which is
Rare.
Odd. Yeah, great ass movie. Fucking one of the best scores in any movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, David Fincher's fucking baller. I mean, it should be no surprise that, you know, one of my favorite movies by him, because literally my favorite movie of all time, which is Fight Club, is also done by him. Also, a lot of similarities between Fight Club and Gone Girl in terms of how it portrays the toxic behaviors of a certain gender.
Mm.
So, yeah, Gone Girl's great. Prisoners.
Ooh.
With Hugh Jackman.
That was on my list
and,
of
Jake
potential
Gyllenhaal.
honorable mention / potential top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie.
Really, really like that movie. Solid ass movie. Paul Dano.
Amazing.
Love Paul Dano. He got his fucking ass roasted in that movie.
Dude. Paul Dano shows up in one of my lists.
Nice. Like some Paul Dano. Because I couldn't do this without one MCU movie. So my movie to represent the MCU is the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh, that's a banger.
Fuck, that's a fucking banger movie, dude. We went through rewatched both Guardians of the Galaxy and then Infinity War and Endgame, me and my fiance, and man, Guardians 1 is just so good.
You really
so good.
You're really loving that title now, aren't you?
Hey man, you know, I gotta fucking squeeze the most out of it as I can, right? Another one is Joker. I feel like I don't need to talk about Joker. Joker's just good.
And that's an honorable mention?
Yes, honorable mention. Hope it wins a bunch of awards this year.
Was there a potential spot that it was going to be getting?
No, I don't think I was ever going to put it in my top 5. But I really do. I genuinely think it's a masterpiece. But I feel like it's too close. You know, I haven't had enough time to mull it over like I have the other movies. Because also another thing you need to know about my top 5, the newest one of my top 5 is from 2017.
Oh wow!
So these are all movies that I've had time to mull over and appreciate them far from the time that I initially saw it.
The newest one for mine is actually 2019.
Nice.
I think it's one of them. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyways, keep going.
Then Toy Story 3.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Because that's so good. Not the best Toy Story movie, because that's still Toy Story 2, but
Toy Story 2 is the best.
Still a solid ass movie.
Oh god.
Toy Story 4 is also very good. People should have that movie. That's still a fucking great ass movie.
I still haven't seen it, but I do want to watch it though, because I have heard good things about that movie and I want to see it.
It is weird to say the fact, because Toy Story 4 is definitely the worst of the Toy Story movies, but that's still a good mark to have, dude, because all 3 Toy Story movies are masterpieces. Well, the first 3 are like masterpiece level movies. So, and number 4 is also very good. Not a masterpiece, but it's still very good.
So, would you say maybe a better title for it is that it's the weakest out of the 4?
Yes, not the worst, the weakest of the 4. Yeah, I'll say that. And then last honorable mention, I had 6 of these. I just miscounted. Last honorable mention is Insidious.
Oh, that's a fucking banger, dude.
Ooh, that's probably, I'd say besides the Blair Witch Project, probably my favorite horror movie of all time.
That might be
I really liked Insidious.
one of like in the top 3 of like one of the scariest movies I've ever seen for me personally.
Yeah, the last movie that genuinely
Dude,
scared
it
me.
fucking scared the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hot take, okay? Underrated sequel.
My favorite thing about James Wan, right? Because he did Saw 1.
Yep.
Right? And I don't think he did any of the other ones. I think he only did the first one.
I think he still produced them.
Maybe he did 2. Yeah, he was still like tagged on them as executive producers. But he bowed out because he's like, I don't want to do this, And then the studio milked the fuck out of Saw.
Oh yeah.
Right? And then he's like, I want to move on to different things. So then he did Paranormal Activity.
Yep.
And then he's like, I don't want to do any more of these. The studio milked the shit out of it. And then he's like, let's move on to something else. Insidious. Studio milked the shit out of it. And then he's like, all right, last horror movie I'm going to do. It's going to be a one-off. The Conjuring. And they milked
the fuck out of it.
They even milked the fuck out of the spin-offs. Annabelle. Oh,
so
that guy made that studio so much money.
Real quick, just to confirm it, he co-wrote and then directed the first Saw, of course, given. That was the last one that he directed, but then he wrote the story for the third Saw movie.
Interesting.
But that was...
I assume he did it because because in the third Saw movies, when Saw or Jigsaw dies, I assume he wrote it because he's like, all right, the third one. He fucking dies. Good luck milking this. And then they went, we'll figure out a way.
And then, of course, he's an executive producer on every single one, which means I can only imagine how much fucking money he made just off of that franchise alone.
Those movies made so much money. It's ridiculous.
Oh, right. And he was an executive producer on Swamp Thing. Rest in peace.
Let's move past that one. All right, so here's my top 5.
All right.
My top 5. Number 5, I got Ex Machina.
Oh, that's a fucking good one.
That's good. Man, Oscar Isaac, one of the best performances I've ever seen in that movie. He's so good. So
that
good
weird sexual dance scene, dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, what very like I'm not like a film buff. I'm not one of those fucking people or anything. I definitely used to be, but I definitely let movies like really like capture me and enthrall me, and like when I'm watching a movie, like I'm in that movie 100%. And the way that Oscar Isaac's character like made me feel like on the edge of my seat every scene he was in. Beautiful movie. Can't say enough good things about Ex Machina. Number 4, I got Whiplash. Ooh. My boy J.K. Simmons fucking killing it. That movie's a fucking straight banger all the way through. Not my fucking tempo. Love that movie, man. The ending is perfect. It's a perfect example of ending a movie leaving you wanting more.
Totally.
Great movie. Number 3, I got Logan. Because I had to have a superhero movie in my top 5.
That's a good one.
So I put Logan because Logan's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. Just a straight banger. Straight fucking banger movie. One of the best ways to send off an iconic actor playing an iconic character.
Totally.
I can't think of a movie that did it better. There's a lot of those, like with Endgame and stuff, you have those moments where like an actor that's synonymous with the character gets their send-off moment. And Logan is the perfect version of that. It's a phenomenal movie. Patrick Stewart's really, really good in it too. It's a great movie. Number 2, Interstellar.
Ooh, that's another good one.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's kind of a meme at this point to talk about how good Christopher Nolan is. But goddamn, Christopher Nolan's pretty fucking good.
I can't wait for Tenet. Oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, there's a reason why he is like the meme of the movie Circle Jerk subreddit, right? Like people kind of, make fun of people who are like, my favorite movie's Inception. Like those fucking people definitely get made fun of a lot, but Interstellar is a phenomenal movie. Also one of the movie I feel like so many people who criticize it just get the movie wrong.
Totally.
Because I don't know if you've ever heard this criticism of the movie. I've heard it a bunch where people say that it's a stupid movie because at the end, love was the magic that saved everything. And like, that's the stupid cop-out. Those people that say that are morons who didn't understand the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's not love that connects them across the universe. That's how their human fucking dumb, stupid brains rationalize it. Because they can't conceive of the fact that the people that were born and evolve from the planet that Anne Hathaway's character fucking populates, those human beings that are born on that planet evolve to the point of being able to like evolve past the third dimension into the fourth dimension and are able to use time to get him back to his fucking daughter because he's the reason that they're alive. So they want to help him. So they travel back in time, help him get back to his daughter because they can use time like we use space. And I know that that's not like super well explained in the movie, but that is what happens. Like that is how he's able to get back. Yeah. It's not love connected Murph and her dad and he was able to travel through space to find her. That's not what happens. It's not what happens. Anyways, Interstellar's great.
It is.
All right. Now, I need to preface my number one by saying, by all accounts, I should hate this movie.
Okay.
Like, not only should this movie not be a movie that I have in my top 5, it shouldn't even be a movie I like at all.
Okay.
Like, I should genuinely disgust myself by having watched this movie in the first place. Because I hate, and I know this is going to shock the shit out of you, I hate Ryan Gosling.
Oh, I know what the movie's going to be
like,
now. Okay.
I don't like Ryan Gosling. Okay? I don't like him. I don't like romantic movies.
What?
And I fucking despise musicals.
What? No.
But fucking La La Land is probably my favorite movie I've ever seen in my life. I genuinely think that La La Land is the best movie I've ever seen. I fucking love everything about this movie. What? It's and now you see why my boss was like, "Who the fuck are you?" Yeah, La La Land.
Now I don't feel as bad for
Banging
the list
movie.
that I'm about to give.
Banging
Fucking
movie.
Christ. What's wrong with you? Like, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy the movie.
No,
I think
Jamie,
it's really
it's not
good.
just a good movie. It's not just a good movie. It's the best movie
Oh my fucking God.
ever made. It's a pure 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I fucking love this movie, Jamie.
Jesus Christ.
Which is weird because it has so much going against it for me to like it. But despite all of that, one of the best movie-going experiences of my life watching that movie. Love the movie. And it's funny because I went to see it with, she was my girlfriend at the time. Now she's my fiance. And and she loves all that like lovey-dovey crappy movie shit, right? And she doesn't like hate musicals. And she loves Ryan Gosling, obviously, because he's hot as fuck. So, like, we kind of went to go see that movie, like, for her, you know, because I thought she'd really like it. And then we left the movie theater, and she was like, we were like, oh, what'd you think of the movie? And she was all like, I thought it was good. And then she looks at me, tears streaming down my face. And I'm just like, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life.
I'm gonna get Paris's gut reaction to that. And I hope it picks up on the mic. Okay, I want to tell you something. So we're still recording the podcast, but I thought you would get a good reaction. So now don't say what I told you what mine is, because I haven't gone through my top 5. But Bobby just got through his top 5. These are his top 5 movies of the last 10 years. You know what he fucking said? So he starts off and he's like, I should hate this movie. You know, I should hate this movie because I hate Ryan Gosling. So my mind immediately goes to Blade Runner 2049. Where does your mind go?
Crazy Stupid Love or whatever?
No. He says, La La Land is his favorite movie of the last 10 years. She's fully ignoring me now. She just hit play on her video. She's like, I don't want to talk about this.
No, you have to tell her, not just of the last 10 years, of all time.
I'm not telling her that.
It's my number one all-time movie now.
Oh, dear Lord.
Great movie. Everyone should watch it 10 times.
Jesus Christ. See, you know what? This would be the time where you could like save yourself and you'll be like, oh, sorry, I read it wrong. My favorite movie of the last 10 years is Moonlight. But I know you're telling the truth.
See, that would have been a banger. That would have been a banger.
You're an idiot. Oh, my God.
No. La La Land got fucking screwed out of that Oscar, bro. Fuck Moonlight.
Oh, my God. Moonlight's it's such a better movie. Anyways, okay. I'm going to walk away from that before I start fucking making fun of you. Now I don't feel so bad about my list. I thought my list was ridiculous.
Hit me. Give me your honorables.
So here's my honorables. Joker, of course, is on there.
Mm-hmm.
Logan is on my honorables. I actually don't have any MCU movies in my top 5 or in my honorables at all.
Interesting.
Some other honorables. Inception. I was a huge fan of Inception. I think that's a really good movie. Edge of Tomorrow. Because for me, it was a movie that I went in being like, this is a stupid premise. It's not going to be very good. And then I was done the movie and I was like, holy fuck, that movie's awesome. I will forever call it Edge of Tomorrow, and I will never refer to it as Live, Die, Repeat, as they keep trying to tell people that it's actually titled that.
Yeah, that's so dumb. Just Edge of Tomorrow is such a cooler name.
And my last honorable is Swiss Army Man. Have you seen Swiss Army Man?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Great movie.
I know about it.
So fucking good. It's so, like, and I remember when they, like, for people listening, and if you haven't seen or heard of Swiss Army Man, basically it's Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe. Paul Dano is on an island, possibly stranded, and he sees a body wash up on the shore, and it's a talking, farting corpse played by Daniel Radcliffe. So that on its own, when it was first announced, I was like, that sounds hilariously stupid. And then when the movie came out, I'm like, this is actually a really, really heartwarming, like, funny movie. Like, it was actually really, really, really good. And like Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano had like really great chemistry on screen too. Like, I would love to see them doing another movie together. But yeah, Swiss Army Man, that's my last honorable. All right. Top 5 of the decade. Of the last 10 years. From 2010 to 2019.
Does it feel like 2010 was so long ago to you?
It does. Thinking back to like what happened in 2010, like how old I was then, what movies came out in 2010, what video games, what TV shows. Yeah, feels like forever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Number 5 spot, I gotta give it to Skyfall. I fucking love Skyfall.
Here's what I gotta say about Skyfall, Jamie. All right, I like Skyfall. Fuck Skyfall. Okay,
why?
Because Skyfall ruins James Bond. James Bond because they could have just cut that one scene where he goes to his fucking parents' graves, and it would have kept the best thing about James Bond alive, and that is the fan theory that it's not just one person, it's a bunch of different people with the same code name, and all of the James Bond movies take place in the same universe, and they're all canon.
All right, so
that's a cool theory. They never had to acknowledge it. They never had to confirm that it's real. They never had to do any of that. But that scene in Skyfall kills that theory outright. So fuck Skyfall.
Whatever. I'm not getting into it.
It's a really good movie. It is a really good movie. I will admit, it is the best James Bond movie.
It's the best one.
Maybe Casino Royale. I would maybe argue Casino Royale, but I will admit Skyfall, very, very good movie. Very good.
So that's my number 5.
Fuck that movie though.
Number 4, Spider-Verse.
Woo! Man, what? I need to rewrite my whole list. I totally forgot about Spider-Verse.
You forgot about it? I thought you did.
I totally forgot
when it wasn't
about
in the honor. See, that's why I went off of list, reminding me what movies came out what year.
God damn
Yeah,
it.
it's number 4, Spider-Verse, man. It's a great movie.
It's no law, man.
There's no explanation on why it's my number 4. It's a great fucking movie.
It's just a great movie.
It's so good.
I mean, everyone should have seen it already.
It's also
the best.
like easily rewatchable.
Can't wait for number 2.
Me too. I'm actually really excited for our eventual like Spider-Man marathon / Spider-Man breakdown, because then it gives me another excuse to watch Spider-Verse.
Honestly, I think we should do that one next.
I was thinking that too, which means I'd have to start like ASAP.
Yep.
Number 3, Django Unchained.
That's solid.
Banger movie.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite Tarantino movie.
Me neither.
But banger.
What's your favorite Tarantino movie?
Inglourious Bastards is my favorite.
That's a good one.
And I know it's a little not, it's a little hot take to not say Pulp Fiction, but
dude, you know what?
I really do.
Mine's not even Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, yours is Reservoir Dogs, right?
It used to be. So, I think like last year, Paris and I watched through Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Ooh,
Kill Bill Volume 1 is, I think that might be my favorite Tarantino movie now. Reservoir Dogs was for the longest time, and I still love that movie. Don't get me wrong. Still love that movie. From beginning to end. Great movie. But Kill Bill Volume 1, man, dude, so good. So yeah, Django's my number 3. This is also a movie that I don't know if maybe you forgot about or you didn't forget about and you just forgot and you just didn't want to, it like wasn't in an honorable or just didn't make it in. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
See, here's okay. I agree. Those movies are really, really good. I just for me, I just couldn't bring them into an honorable mention for the whole decade.
That's fair.
But they are phenomenal movies. Still to this day, the best special effects in movie history.
Oh, so good. So good. And also keep in mind, I am only bringing in the second movie. I'm not bringing in the third.
Which is the best one.
Not bringing in the first. Because the second one is the best movie.
The first one is good, but it takes a while to get to the really good parts.
I would say kind of in the same vein of when you were talking about Toy Story 4, how it's like I don't think the first one, Rise, is a bad movie, but I would say I feel comfortable giving it the title of the weakest out of the 3. Definitely the third one would be the second best one. I really enjoyed it.
They fucked up the names though. The first one should have been called Dawn, and the second one should have been called Rise. Right? Like that makes sense.
Well, no, it's like
grammatically.
The first one is the rise of the apes, of like the apes basically fighting back, and then the second one is the dawn of basically the ape empire.
I think they fucked it up.
Well, you also put La La Land as your number 1, so
yeah. So I'm objectively right about everything. Thanks for pointing that out, Jamie.
Number 1, complete polar opposite of yours.
Hit me.
Fucking Mad Max Fury Road. Dead ass.
That's fine. That's good. That's a good movie.
That movie. That's easily in the top 5 of
that
one of my
really
favorite
good
movies of all time.
I do really want them to put out though the no CG cut.
Me too.
Because like I've seen some like behind the scenes footage without CG, that movie's fucking. I mean, even without it, it's still beautiful. Yeah. And yeah, man, the potential for sequels and stuff, that's solid.
I'm still waiting for a Furiosa movie. That'd be fucking baller.
Yeah. There's so much in that movie where you just like pause it. It's just like a single frame of the movie, and you're just like, they can make a whole movie out of that one frame.
Totally.
Like, especially like when they're going through that one part, it's like the swamplands are all like not like swampy, but it's kind of like misty and like dark, and there's those weird creatures that are walking around.
Oh yeah.
And then they just go past it, and you're just like, fuck it, what's that about? That shit's cool. Show me that stuff.
That movie was like another reason why I I love George Miller because like he made a backstory for almost every character on screen. Like Doofoyer has his own. Doofoyer is the best part of that movie. Fucking flamethrower, double electric guitar, fucking mask on. He's wearing
that dude's so cool.
He's wearing underalls or whatever. Dude, fuck yeah. Doofoyer is the best. Yeah, dude, I love that movie. That movie's so good.
That's a movie. I'm surprised they didn't like super capitalize on that movie, you know?
I don't know, man.
They should have been pumping out sequels to that.
I'm sure there's probably some sort of like legal or like production reason or whatever it is for why they didn't make any more after, but like I thought every aspect of that movie was like really, really, really good. Let's see. Apparently they made prequel comics. The more you know,
that's something.
Potential sequels. I'm just reading up so like it says in May of I'm on the Wikipedia page right now. Where is it? They added 2 additional scripts. One of these, titled Mad Max Furiosa, had already been completed, and Miller hoped to film it after the release of Fury Road. In March of that year, during an interview with Esquire, Tom Hardy revealed that he was attached to star in 3 more Mad Max films following Fury Road. In May of that year, George Miller told Wired, "Should Fury Road be successful, I've got 2 other stories to tell."
Should it be successful?
Later in May,
it was pretty successful.
Later in May, Miller revealed that plans for the sequel had changed, and the 5th film in the franchise would instead be titled Mad Max: The Wasteland. And apparently they had 2 sequels worth of movies that they had ended up with during the writing process of the first one. I'm seeing if there's anything. Oh, in July of 2019, Miller said, "There are 2 stories, both involving Mad Max and also a Furiosa story. We're still solving. We've got to play out the Warner's thing. It seems to be pretty clear that it's going to happen." So, as of July 2019. Also, I'm glad that you brought it up when I mentioned it, that it's like if it's successful. Dude, it says here the budget was between 154 to 185 million. It made $378 million.
Yep.
Like, also,
bring it.
Great score.
Oh,
by
fantastic.
Junkie XL.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fantastic score.
Also, that composer made one of the best pieces of music to come out of the most recent DCEU movies. That fucking Wonder Woman theme.
Overrated.
But what?
This is coming from a guy that likes the DCEU. That thing's overrated.
What is?
The Wonder Woman theme.
Oh, the theme.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyways, I like it. I think it's good.
All right. Well, that was it.
That was it. We got through it. We got through our decade. Our decade.
Yeah. And if there's anything we should take away from this podcast, it's that the Raptors won the championship.
They won the championship. And La La Land is the worst movie of the last 10 years.
It's the best movie of all time.
I liked you better when your favorite movie of all time was fucking Shawshank Redemption. What happened to that guy? He got engaged.
He saw La La Land in theaters. I saw a movie well before I got engaged. Yeah. See, the thing about Shawshank Redemption, it's not a musical starring Ryan Gosling.
Oh my god! And the thing that drives me nuts about that the most is you're like, probably out of everybody that I know, you're the person who hates musicals the most.
Oh, I fucking can't stand.
Yet it's your favorite movie of the decade, let alone your favorite movie of all time. What's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. Isn't that the same director of Whiplash?
Yeah, it is. He got 2 spots in my top 5, bro.
Oh my god! Just blow him already,
my man. If you want, hey, contact me. My Twitter is @crunchycaptain. Just tweet me, DM me. Wherever. If you cover airfare, I'll be there in 2 days.
All right. Well, we should wrap it up because I gotta go eat dinner and hang out with my wife.
So do I. Hey.
But yeah, this was fun. We should do it again next time. Next one will be. Ooh, actually no. We gotta do one. We have to do one more before the Spider-Man ones.
What's that?
Ooh, let me.
Hit me.
1 second.
We'll talk about Rise of Skywalker
Let me
more.
just double check and make sure that it's actually aired. The series is set to premiere on January 24th, 2020. So in 2 days, dude, we got to start the Goop Lab, baby.
Oh, the
The Goop Lab. I got you to
We can
agree
do
to it
Goop.
on Twitter. It's on the internet forever.
Yeah,
Oh, this is going to be
permanent.
so bad.
That's
How
a
many episodes are
contract.
there? Let me check. Okay, they're 30-minute episodes. Okay, that's good. Thank fucking God. Wow, there's an entire part just dedicated to the reception of the trailer. Fucking Christ.
Oh my God.
Okay, it doesn't say how many episodes there are, at least on Wikipedia. I guess I could check IMDb. It doesn't say. But yeah, so I tweeted at Bobby a while ago when a trailer for what's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Lab Netflix series. So I'm holding you to it, and we are going to do a review next week. So you have until whenever we record the podcast next to watch all of the Goop Lab, and I'm going to watch it
Right.
too, and it's going to be dog shit.
I can't
Dude,
wait.
it's going to be great. It's
I
going to
can't
be
wait.
great. So excited.
I'm gonna go watch La La Land now.
What?
I'm gonna go watch La La Land now.
All right. Well,
All right.
this was fun. You can follow us on Twitter.
Yep.
Rate and review us, all that jazz, and we will see you guys next time. Boop. Oh, you gotta stop listening now.